Hello world and welcome back. So we're now on episode number 4. I can't believe we're here already. We've gotten off to a pretty good start. And I think we're getting a pretty good swing of things on how we're gonna do it. So let's do a quick little recap to see where we left off. I was trying to debug this slider right here because it was having trouble. If you wanna check it out, you should check out episode number 3 and take a look on how we got to where we're at now. So the next thing we're gonna do is we're going to add some Prettier. So basically some text indentation automatically by pressing a button. Yeah, so we're gonna make it look a lot neater. So whenever text gets added to the, whenever we add elements to the editor, it shows up kind of messed up, right? So it's unedited, it's not indented or anything like that. So we're gonna add some indentation. So whenever we add elements that they look a lot neater and they're easier to track. For example, let's say we added a button right here. Right underneath this, see your changes instantly as you type, right here. We're gonna add it underneath that div, hit button, boom. But see how it's not lined up? So it starts to get garbled up pretty quickly. I mean, it'll still function, but it's harder to read and organize, especially when you have a huge landing page. So we're gonna tackle that, make it look a little bit neater. What we're also gonna do is we're gonna start scaffolding the templates sidebar right here so we can start adding more elements. But before we just start throwing a whole bunch of elements into it, I wanna add some structure to it. So that's what I plan on doing today, and we'll see how it goes. So this is Claude, the command line or the online chat. And basically I've been using this guy to help me articulate messages that I send over here to Claude Code. Sometimes I use, there's an option called dangerously no permissions or skip permissions, I think. Dangerously skip permissions. That's usually a bad thing to do, but it also stops from having to press yes all the time. So it's kind of like a YOLO mode. I just did a backup, so we should be good. If I have any issues, I back up to an external hard drive because if for whatever reason, and I'm not calling any MCP servers or anything like that, so I don't have to worry about malicious code. This is all local here, but I don't know. I guess it's a bad thing to do, but sometimes I'll do it. So let's live life on the edge today. Let's give it a go. Boom, bypass permissions on. It's in red too. Red usually means something's bad. I've already been through this with Claude Code, or with Claude, the chat. So it has an idea of what we're doing. So basically, I'm gonna tell it now, can it help me craft the prompts that I'm gonna need for Claude Code. So I'm gonna go ahead and paste this into Claude Code CLI, and then we'll go over what it says while it's working in the background. Oh, 70 lines. While this is running, we're gonna go over what we're doing. So long story short, it's a 2-part task for enhancing the HTML editor. We're gonna add the Prettier code formatting. So it's gonna add professional code formatting capability to make messy HTML readable and properly indented, which is really important, right? It tells us how to install it, npm install Prettier. We're gonna add a shortcut, Shift+Alt+F or Shift+Option+F, and it's gonna format the code for us. We're gonna add some error handling. So if the HTML is malformed, it's gonna throw an exception, not an error, or throws an error, and don't corrupt the work. So whenever it makes the edits, don't add or remove stuff. Then our part 2 is scaffolding the expanded template sidebar, structure only. So what that means is the sidebar over here is we're gonna add some more components to it, some layouts. Think of it in terms of chapters to a book, right? We're gonna add the chapters of what we're gonna put on there, and then we're gonna go ahead and we'll call that the scaffolding, basically the skeleton of it, and then we'll flesh it out in the next video most likely, because that could snowball out of control, right? So what we wanna do is we wanna baby step, add features, do bug fixes, and make saves to GitHub so that we have a save point where we can pull back and restart or rebase if we need to. For scaffolding, we're gonna have a few different templates. It's gonna be like landing, about, contact, blog templates. Then we're gonna have a few different types of hero sections. We already have some components already made. The buttons, cards, form inputs. We also have layouts as well. So this is all gonna get rearranged and organized. Add the 4 new empty categories. Oh, you know what? No, we've already had those before. Let's see what it's doing. Here we go. Wow, all right. So, wow. So it did all that rather quickly. Let's get rid of that button oh, you know what? I added this, this button here. Let's see if the prettifier works. Here it is up here. We can press this button. It says undefined. And then we can also do Shift+Option+F. Okay, so we're gonna clear the console. So I'm glad this is happening, right? Because it looks like it should work. It looks like it did everything it did, but it's kind of like a hollow victory because it looks like it's working, but it's not. So we're gonna fire this off one more time. We're gonna capture the console. And then we're gonna paste it. So we have two options, right? We can use Claude code to start the debugging, or we can do Claude Sonnet. So I think I'm gonna use Sonnet for the thinking pieces, and I'm gonna use code for the coding pieces. Maybe I'll switch them back and forth or what have you, but I'm just gonna start with this and see what it says. Oh, okay. Here's a follow-up prompt. All right, so now we're gonna give it a follow-up prompt on what to do. And it's saying basically that it's missing a plugin in app.jsx, which is this guy right here. Update the Prettier import and format function. All right, here we go. So let's clear our console real quick so we can capture any fresh error messages, and it's fired away. Bam, code formatted. So that button that we had right here. So I'm gonna use Shift Tab and see if it pulls it out of the way. And then now I'm just gonna hit format and boom, it goes through. Now what happens if there's malformed HTML, right? How does this handle it? Because that's incomplete HTML now. Oh, did it recognize where it's at? You know what? I wonder if it's possible to highlight in the editor what's missing. Like this block of code is bad or something like that. Hold on. All right, so I'm asking it a question now. So when there's an error, how difficult would it be to highlight where the error is occurring in the code editor? So if it says that it's gonna be an easy win, then heck, let's go for it. But if it's gonna be too much of an issue, then we'll just not do that for now. Okay, so Monaco has a built-in support for markers or decorations. All right, so we'll save it for, so it's called Monaco markers or decorations. But now we have a mental note of what that is, and we can address it in the future. Also, here's our sections. So we have 2 hero sections actually. That would be cool if those could be drag and drop too, but we'll address that later, right? That's just organizing that, but not a problem. But I do notice that there is a hero sections and then a hero section layout. So we'll see what we should be doing about consolidating those. And what I mean by that is this thing is like it's like an encyclopedia. It has a vast, deep pool of knowledge, right? So for me, it's better to ask it its opinions and what it thinks, and then process that with what I think, and then come to a decision. And so that's why I ask it a lot of questions, because this thing knows so much and it comes up with so many ideas that I never would have thought of. It's pretty impressive. So in the template section, there's a hero section. It's empty. That's what we expect. But in the layout section right here, there's a hero section. So that's kind of, we have a doubling of sections. This was here before, this is here now. So what Sonnet is doing now, Claude Sonnet, the chat, it came up with a single prompt that we should be using to organize everything in the template section at once. So we're going to attempt to one prompt shot this, or one shot prompt. You know what? Let's try that other. We're going to do this in plan mode, and we're going to see what it says. All right, so what it's doing now is verifying the organization plan. It says it looks like it's a good plan, so we're gonna go ahead and proceed. And then what we're gonna see here is some organization happening, right? So these are two very small wins that we're doing right now. Like we're being very targeted, very specific with what we're doing. So let's just see how this works out. We may or may not do it like this in the future, but it's pretty cool just to come up with an idea of what we're trying to accomplish, and then use Claude chat to try to come up with a plan for it, then implement it. So that's pretty cool. Bam. Here we go. All right, so let's test this and see if it works. Shift tab to move things. Okay. Button, click me, shift tab to move things. Format works. Actually, we'll move it forward. We're gonna hit Shift+Option+F. Oh, that really messed things up. Shift+Option+F. Was that what it was? File new. Tab, Shift+Option+F. Yeah, whenever we use the shortcut key, it deletes everything. File new. Let's see if it's just because I went forward with the tabs, right? We're gonna try the format button. Format button works. So we have a bug where the format button works, but whenever we use the Shift+Option+Delete, Shift+Option+F, it deletes everything. So the one-shot prompt, see, for me, that's the issue I have with trying to get things done in one shot. It rarely works. I mean, sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't, but I found that it causes more issues than it solves. But sometimes it does work, and it's magical when it does. You could just say, hey, make me a really cool web page, and boom, it just makes this bad looking thing. But that's rare. Well, that's not true. For basic things, it works. Like if you say, hey, Claude, make me a landing page for my plumbing company, it'll do it, but it'll be generic. But for things like this, more customized things, that's not usually the case. The root cause, current content equals content. It uses a React state, which might be stale. The button works because it's a UI state after the state updates. All right. Tab, format, tab, Shift+Option+F. Okay, that worked. So let's see a real example, right? So we're in the feature cards, which are these guys right here. We're looking for the one that says live preview and see your changes instantly as you type, right here. So now, underneath this div, so in between these two sections, we're gonna add a button. And as expected, it works and is very reactive. Responsive is responsive. So now that we have this button in here, we just hit format and bam, it put it right where it needs to be, right here. Button added. Let's see if it does the same thing for comments. Yes, it does. That's fantastic. We have our layouts. Underneath our, let's just stay where that button's at, right? Button added, click me button, button's added. So let's see what happens if we add a hero section. Boom, welcome to our site. That is awesome. And we're gonna format that, and now it's lined up. And that's the hero section. So let's go underneath the hero section. Let's add a form input. I don't think I've ever tried that yet. So that's a text input. So this should be labeled to text input. Navigation and layout. Why is this centered but the rest are to the left? Let's center the navigation and layout section. So let's align the navigation and layout text in the template section to the left, like the rest of them. So that should move this guy right here to the left. See how they all align left? Bam. Fantastic. So now it looks good. So we came in today wanting to add a format button, which we did. It's here. There's also a shortcut key, Shift+Option+F, that properly indents everything, aligns it. If there's any issues with the any malformed HTML, it'll tell us as an error, but it won't do anything. It'll just say it's unable to do it, and then that's a to-do for later, where we're going to add error handling, which is going to be very good when we start adding more complicated elements or components to the websites. So that's a to-do. We also added a template section on the left. We fixed it, so basically similar to a table of content, we have our different sections. Most of them have nothing in them, and we're going to fill those out most likely in the next video. I just didn't want to bite off more than we could chew, so I just wanted to start somewhere. And I think we might lay them out more hierarchically, where we put things that are typically on the top of the web page on the top of the template section, and things that are at the bottom, like we have our nav bar, and then we're going to have probably our menu options and all that jazz. Then we're going to have our footer. I don't know, there's so many options, right? Let's just see what the future holds. But if you want to see it, be sure to stay tuned and check out what we do.